The flag was still there. This project is dedicated to those who have fought, currently fighting, and have sacrificed their lives so we could be free and celebrate our Independence Day.
This episode is brought to you by Calvary Sunrise Oshkosh, teaching the Word verse by verse to equip the saints to be ambassadors of Christ.
All the products and the tools used in this project are not sponsored, and we paid for each of them with our own money. We are back in the shop, and yes, it does feel weird that everything's all cleaned up, but we're ready for our next project. We'll be making an American flag for my friend Mike Braun at Christian Event Ministry, so we're gonna get started.
In case you're wondering about the lamp I was working on, here it is. She was completed just before Father's Day and delivered to my friend, and he loves it. Happy belated Father's Day to all fathers out there.
One of the first things I did was I created a stop block. I took a 2x4 and I took another piece of wood and I created the stop block. The 2x4 is 41.5 inches long. And then with this block here that I nailed in, it's going to make the flag 37.5 inches long. These 1x2s are made out of pine, and I get select pine over at Menards. And what I do is I make sure that we have some character in each piece. I make sure that each piece has some sort of grain pattern or some character, and we're going to see that a little bit later. These boards are 8 feet long, so I'm going to have to move the miter saw over so I can have some room. Let's get cutting. Our boards are all cut up. Now let's line them up. So we're gonna need 13 boards because there's 13 stripes to the flag. 13 stripes are signifying the 13 original colonies. So when I make my flags, the one's got the most grain pattern to it, I like to use as the stripes. The non-grain portion I want to use for the blue and the stars. And remember, there are two sides to every board. So you want to see what type of pattern that you want to have in your flag and see if they match up. Now when you're going through this process, it may feel like a jigsaw puzzle. But once you get something that looks good, you're going to be satisfied. But we're not done here. I want to show you something that's going to make this pop. And you're going to like it. And I'm going to show you a process called Shoshugiban. And what Shoshugiban is you're going to be burning the wood so you can bring out the grains. So what you're going to need is a spray bottle of water and a blowtorch. Yeah, you're probably thinking this is a recipe of something bad's going to happen. I've done this so many times. It's going to work. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray down each piece of wood so we don't burn the wood completely. And we're going to do this one piece at a time. And then we're going to turn on our blowtorch. And then we're going to go gently. And you want to go fast. Look how beautiful that this is popping. You're going to have more definition to your flag. And remember, there's always two sides. So if you don't like how one side looks, you can flip it over and do the other side. And don't forget to keep on spraying the wood. You don't want to scorch your wood. Looking good. And remember, this does get hot, so give it some time to cool off. And then don't forget the other side. And look how beautiful that's looking. One thing to keep in mind is you can see where the price tag was on the piece of lumber right here. That can be the back of the flag. But I like how this turned out. And then we're going to repeat the process 12 more times. And you'll notice the closer you get the board to the flame, the darker it will be. So that's why you want to go fast and light, so you can figure out what type of pattern that you want. Do you want it dark, or do you want to have a light pattern? And you notice the yellow over here? That's tree sap. Just a heads up, it's very flammable, so you can get quite a bit of a light show if you hit the tree sap at the right moment. And this is the end result of all of our burning. We are ready for the next step. Our next step is we're going to get ready to stain the blue. So what I have right here would be my star template. I'll be using the 50 star template that I've got from freedomtemplates.com. I'll have the link down below. And now what I'm doing is I took out the first 7 boards, which is the first half of the flag, and I'm using my template. And I'm lining it up, and I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw a line. A line on each board. You want to go light, you don't want to go too dark on it. And then notice I used my other 1x2s to frame things up to make sure it's nice and square. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use painter's tape And where I drew that line, that's where we're going to have the painter's tape. We've got our border all taped up, and we're ready for the blue stain. The stain I'll be working with will be from General Finishes. I found this on Amazon, and I'll have a link down below. This blue color best represents the blue in the American flag. And the brush I'll be using will be a standard foam brush that you can find at any hardware store really cheap. But this spreads on the stain really well. The gloves are on. Let's get to work. One thing to keep in mind when staining is go nice and smooth, because if you just go crazy, you're gonna get blue all over the place. I did that with a window and it looked like I killed a Smurf. So here we go. And this is what she looks like after one coat of stain. Now, depending on how dark you want the banner to be, you can do one coat or you can do 2 coats. We'll just let this dry and we'll see if we need a second coat.
While the stain dries, let's take a look at what each part of the American flag means. As I mentioned earlier, the 13 stripes represents the 13 original colonies. The United States was colonized by the British. On July 4th, 1776, the United States declared independence from Great Britain, and a nation was born. The white stripes represent purity and innocence. The red stripes represent hardiness and valor. The blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. And the 50 stars represents the 50 states of the Union.
Okay, after drying, this is what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? One coat did it all. The next step would be to move the painter's tape over a little bit to the left so we can put on the red stripes. And this is what we have so far. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate the red and the white. And you look at the American flag, it would start red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, and red. So we're going to separate these, and we're going to stain the red stripes. And the red stain I'll be using will be General Finishes Dye Stain Empire Red. All right, we've got the red stain on. We'll let that dry. And if history serves us right, we only need this one coat. And just as a disclaimer, no Smurfs were harmed in the staining of this flag. The tape is off and the stain is dry. We're going to move on to our next step. Now you might notice that some of the boards might be a little bit raised. That does not mean that it's warped, but we're going to fix that. We're going to flip this over. That's right, I'm back. That is right, Johan. We're going to weight this down to try to straighten out the boards. Let's get busy. The clamps are on good and tight. Yeah, you just had to put a little muscle to it. Yeah! Now we're ready to put the braces on. And I'll be using the Wen 18 gauge brad nail gun to nail on the braces. Now you gotta ask yourself one question. Did I fire 49 or 50? Do you feel lucky? Well, do you? Would? The braces are on, and it's time for the reveal. Nice. And we're ready for the next step. And the next step will be to put on the stars. We've got everything all lined up, and we're ready to paint. The white paint we're going to be using is the Waverly White chalk paint. This will be easy to apply, and you can get this at any hobby store. One thing to keep in mind when you're putting stars on your flag is make sure that they're right side up. And I put a little paint on a block of wood. This time I'll be using a straight brush. First, we're going to secure our template. Make sure it doesn't move around. Here we are, looking much, much better than the last time. You're still gonna have some problem stars, and that's okay. Like Bob Ross says, we don't make mistakes, we make happy little accidents. And it's time to go on to the next step. Normally what I use to protect my projects would be polyurethane. However, my friend Mike wants to display this flag outside, so we're gonna use Thompson's water seal. Remember, go light and easy. You don't wanna go too heavy when applying any type of polyurethane or any type of water seal. And of course, make sure that you're well ventilated. We're done with the ceiling and it looks awesome. We're in the home stretch. Now we're gonna put up the hanging hardware. What I'll be using will be the picture hanging kit from Ook. You can pick that up in any hardware store. And I get the heavy hanging kits just for the strength. And now, the final touch. And there she is, all finished. It has been a great honor to express patriotism through wood. There is only one flag, the United States of America. The flag reminds us that we need to defend our purity and our innocence. Our children are the purity and innocence of our nation. We have to remain vigilant and persevere during the hard times. Seek and provide justice for both the weak and the mighty, for we have hardiness and valor. We are a blessed and chosen nation. What will save our nation and continue to bless our nation would be to remember Christ's sacrifice on the cross, to be on our knees in prayer and ask for forgiveness for the sins of our nation. We need to renew our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.
Have a happy and safe 4th of July. God bless and protect the United States of America.